Well, I'm here at Hisense's stand at CES Las Vegas 2026. Now, there's been a lot of buzz about Hisense's stand and what's going on. I heard it has something to do with some high-tech colors. Let's go find out. Starting with the 116-inch UXS behind me. So this features the very latest RGB Mini-LED Evo technology. Now, let me explain how this works. So in a television, normally they have a backlight. So an LED TV has a backlight behind it. And now what's changed is that this backlight used to only be one color. Now this has all the primary colors. So it has red, green, and blue, but Hisense has now added a cyan or a different type of blue into that mix. And this has a whole bunch of benefits. Now, first, it makes it so it can produce far more colors than ever before. Now, there's a standard called the BT 2020 color standard. It can do not 100% of this, but actually 110% of this. And this also means that the types of blues that are created, I guess, are more comfortable for the human eye to see. So with some televisions, there's a blue light that kind of keeps you awake at night. It's a little harsher to see. With Hisense's technology, this blue light doesn't actually do this. So it is a sort of more comfortable blue light to see, plus it actually just covers more of the spectrum. So that just means more colors and a better looking, more realistic image. In addition to this, all of the colors that this TV can produce are Pantone certified, meaning that they're very, very accurate, as well as skin tones. Because of course we want our movies to have the right skin tones, we want things to look lifelike and realistic, so you'll get that with this TV. Another amazing benefit of the RGB Mini-LED technology is it actually uses less power than comparable older screen types like OLED, because it actually doesn't have to have all of the LEDs lit at the same time. So for example, it might just have the red LED in the backlight lit where the others are all black, and that actually just means less energy consumed. But it's because that light is more pure and that color is more pure, a better red going through the panel, that it doesn't actually have to worry about turning on all of the backlights. And that's can lead to even up to a 30% energy reduction against a sort of a comparably sized TV from last year. So that is pretty cool. Another benefit of the RGB Mini-LED technology. So AI is a big part of Hisense TVs this year, but the good thing is that AI kind of works seamlessly in the background. You don't have to know very much about it. The idea is that AI analyzes what you're doing, whether it's the picture, the sound, or the type of content that you're watching, and then makes the most appropriate settings so you get a better experience. So for example, with the picture, it might do some upscaling to make the quality better because the source material isn't that great, or it might sort of fine-tune the high dynamic range or the RGB backlight. On the sound front, this is pretty cool. It can actually detect the sound that it's sort of meant to be playing, and it can reduce the bass if the bass is sort of distorted, so it stops the TV cabinet from kind of shaking or vibrating, as well as it can actually tune the sound to the space that you're in. And it actually uses the TV's remote, and there's a microphone inside that, and then it listens sort of to the room's acoustics based on where you're sitting, and then adjusts the sound for that. And there's also, I guess, a scenario-based tuning as well. So you could be playing a game, it can figure out whether it's a first-person shooter or real-time strategy, and make adjustments to reduce latency, or if it's gotten a little more time, like for example, a real-time strategy, it will then spend more time processing that image so it looks even nicer. And also, if you're watching sport or movies or just regular TV content, it will adjust it, I guess, sort of like a filmmaker mode, to get more of what the director intended for cinema to sport, where it sort of makes sure that motion smoothing is really good, and there's a lot of clarity as well for the football, you know, flying around the screen and that type of thing. So AI really just works in the background, gives you the best settings, but of course you can make your own settings too if you want to. But it's good to see that sort of AI not overcomplicating things. You just want a better experience. There's a lot happening with Hisense's projectors this year, and at the very top there's the new XR10. Now they're calling this the Apex of projectors. I would call it the Apex Predator of projectors, because number one, it looks really, really cool. Number two, it can do 6,000 ANSI lumens, but it is much more competitive in terms of its pricing. I think in Australia, we don't know the pricing yet, but it'll probably be maybe around the $8,000 range or something like that. But that's a very, very bright projector, 4K, true 4K because of its optical zoom, and it also has a lens shifting system. This also enables this projector, so it's not a short throw, but it's a sort of a long throw projector, but it can still be positioned much closer than many other projectors with its 300-inch sort of screen size. So in the example we saw here, the actual projector was about 4.5 meters away, but it was still able to do a 200-inch sort of projection. Normally something would normally have to be about 6 meters away to get something like that. So just imagine all of the options it gives you for your home theater. Even if you're upgrading your old projector to this one, it means that you can use the sort of the same position but get a bigger image and have all the wiring still in place. Another thing I really love about this is that it's actually liquid cooled. Now it's only about 40 decibels or so, what I've heard, because this liquid cooling still allows a projector of this size and this brightness to be quiet. Otherwise you'd have massive fans, it'd sound like a vacuum cleaner, and that's no good for your home cinema area. Plus with this extra brightness, I think you can probably use it in daylight quite well as well. So look, this is a really, really cool projector, and it really just adds to the range. We're also seeing a new C3 projector, so that's the all-in-one projectors. We actually did the C2 Ultra on GadgetGuy, definitely check out that review. But the C2 is here as well. There will be another C3 Ultra coming as well, which has, you know, the subwoofer in the base, and it should actually get brighter, maybe 4,000 lumens this year, and also has some of that cool lens tilting and shifting technology too. So lots of exciting stuff happening here with Hisense in 2026. It looks so good. Okay, so what we have here is Hisense's L9Q projector. So this model that is coming to Australia is the 120-inch one. And what it means is that this is a short throw projector, so it can be placed right up against the wall, and that's great in terms of having it in your living room, great for daylight. It is a trichroma projector, meaning that you're using 3 lasers to have an incredible amount of color. Again, 110% of the Rec 2020 color space. Basically just means a whole lot of colors. In addition to that, what it also has inside it is a 6.2.2 Devalier speaker system. So it's really a well-contained unit. You don't have to worry about connecting extra speakers or sound, figuring that out. It sounds fantastic, and Devalier is a really premium audio brand. They really make great stuff, so it sounds fantastic. Plus, of course, you just control it with the remote. It'll have all of your sort of your apps, your Netflix, your Amazon Prime, all of that built in. So what is also very cool about this is the way Hisense sells it is that they provide a screen as well. So this one comes with a 120-inch screen. And because Hisense makes the screen, they can control the reflective properties of it and really make the most of the projection system. So this is actually rated for 5,000 ANSI lumens. That is very, very bright, so plenty of punch for a daylit living room. But in addition to that, you're getting that extra reflective qualities from the panel that's included. Now you can maximize the screen size beyond that 120, but of course you want to have that 120 screen filled up. It goes up to 200 inches. But another thing to think about is that this can actually do 1,500 nits of brightness from its 5,000 ANSI lumens lasers. So normally the nits number isn't quoted with projectors, but Hisense is so confident because they make the projection screen that you're going to use as well as the projector that they can actually kind of give you that figure. So it is very bright, as bright as many TVs that would be in your living room. I think it also looks great. It's got a great design. And of course, I love those speakers too. So definitely look out for this one. It's on sale in Australia. So we have some examples of Hisense's lifestyle TVs. First, behind me, we have the CanvasTV. Now these types of TVs are designed to look like a real picture when you're not using them as a TV. And that's because they have a special matte finish and a special mode that sort of connects to art stores and puts lovely looking artwork on the screen. I really love this idea. Anyway, this year, CanvasTV gets a little bit thinner and a little bit brighter. Also, of course, everything comes in the box. You have sort of outside sort of borders that look more like wood. You have the stand in the box too. So it's great to see that this is getting better this year. And in addition to that, we also have something called Follow Me. Now, I've heard this is going to come out in Australia. What this is it's a portable battery-powered TV that's on a stand. There's little wheels on the base, and you can roll this around and just bring a TV into areas where you might need it. Plus, you can turn it from horizontal to vertical, so if you want to watch some sort of vertical content on there. And it is a touch screen too. But of course, you can access all of your other apps like your Netflix and your Amazon Prime to watch video, or you can use it by connecting it to something like a Samsung DeX phone as an external monitor and use the touchscreen. So it's pretty cool. I love the look of it, and you can just wheel it around with you and just figure out how you need to use it around the home or office. On the stand, we're also seeing Hisense's very latest MicroLED TVs as well. Now these are a massive 163 inches. Imagine that in your home. Unfortunately, you wouldn't have this in your home. It's really still in the commercial space. This technology is going to be, I guess, what we'll move to when it becomes more affordable. But it is very impressive. It's looking really good, and it's just nice to see them getting even bigger. Well, that is our whirlwind tour of Hisense's booth here at CES 2026. Look, I think my real takeaway is that they are just upping the game in terms of color performance across both its TVs as well as projectors. And you have to think about this too, is that Hisense actually pioneered the whole RGB backlighting technology that we're really seeing as a huge trend here at the show. And another thing too is that this technology isn't just for the 116-inch TVs, it actually is coming down to TVs as small as 55 inches with the UR9 and the UR8 in Australia this year. So this technology is really going to be accessible for Australians, and I have to say I'm just so impressed with the amazingly vibrant colors, the incredible black contrast levels as well that this technology delivers. So anyway, if you're looking for a TV this year or a projector, definitely check out what Hisense got. I was very impressed here. Anyway, I'm Val from GadgetGuy. Leave us a comment if you have any questions, and otherwise I'll see you in the next tech video.